Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Oblivions are up on the website, baby. We are getting ready to do our Sunday evening show. And yeah, if you're interested in big subwoofers and not trying to pay a big, huge price, you're at the right place. We're going to talk about it for quite a while. So stay tuned, baby. We're just going to do this. Let's get started. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we're in the house tonight. We're going to be talking about some budget subwoofers, guys. Some of the best in the business. If you want to be big power and not pay a ton of money to get there, Slapz audio, so you want to pack down your money. Big bass, small money, that's what it's all about. Oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's up, Joe? Y'all know I'm crazy. So did you guys see my last little video I put up? Well, no, I hadn't put it up yet, actually. Y'all ain't seen that. It's a short. Tyler Walker in the house. What's up, Tyler? Let's see here. We got Joe Berserker and Tyler in the house. The rest of the crew will show up here before it's all said and done. But we're going to be talking. I'm going to talk a little bit about it first before we get over to the website, because I want to let people show up that are going to want to know information after I've already went through all of it. So that's how that works. So I have been going over specs on my current enclosure. I keep a track of all that after I built it. And I know, let's see here. I keep up with my notes whenever I'm building something. I always hold on to my notes, because later on, you're going to be trying to remember how big something was, or what the measurements on something was. Or somebody might be wanting to copy your build, and you may not be able to remember exactly the measurements of things. So I always keep that stuff. And as an example, I'll show you right here. That's my basic box design. In case you guys are ever wondering, those are the basic measurements of my box, my wall right there. So it's 45 to outside to outside. That's the first layer. This is assuming that you're building a one-layer box, right? Because all the reinforcements are all after that. This is 1 layer, 3/4 inch, assuming that. This gets you the specs that I've got going on. So it's 33 inches top to bottom, 45 from outside to outside, and then the port's 4.5 inches by I think 30 inches tall, and then right now it's like 17 inches deep. The box is 30 or 20. What was it? 24 inches deep outside to outside on one sheet. Now, later on, after I built that, I ended up adding more layers to the outside to increase the strength. But this whole, that plan basically is just 1 layer. And that's going to work well with 4 of the Oblivion 15s. So if you're looking to build a box for that, you just go back and check those numbers. That will work out good. Now, having said that, I did the math on that, and I think that's coming out to right at 4 cubic feet. So we're going to be looking at some of the numbers on the subs, on the version 1s and the version 2s, and talking about what changed perimeter wise, because that's a thing. If you've already got an enclosure built for the version 1s, will it work well with the version 2s? Because they're not the same sub. They are very close, though. We're going to look at the differences and figure out if there's a big issue. Let's see here. Joe Berserker. Jason, what's up, Jason? And Tyler's in the house. Oh, man. We need bigger VCS, more magnets, etc. Hey, baby, I got it. 300 ounces is fine for what I'm doing. Let's see here. Turn it up on a Sunday. Let's go. Heck yeah, I'll hand out pamphlets on my build. Hey, man, it is what it is. You know, I'm not a gatekeeper like that. Some people are like really trippy. If you ask them what the specs are on their box, they freak out. They're like, they literally don't want to give that information up. Most of those people are from the 90s. They're old school guys like me, OGs. In the 90s, protecting your box design was a big deal because you didn't want nobody copying you and improving and beating you. You had magic sauce in your box, right? And you wanted to keep the magic hidden from everybody. And that was a big deal in the late 80s, early 90s to the mid 90s. Later on, it kind of fell out of favor. But those guys that are still around from those days, like myself, a lot of them are like that. I've never been a gatekeeper. I'll tell you exactly what I did because I want to see everybody get loud. I ain't trying to compete really. I ain't trying to have that competitive edge or nothing. I'm just getting loud and having fun. So having said that, we have delayed a little bit. Let's go over here and pull up. Y'all bear with me on this part because I often screw this up. I'm going to try to do it right. And I'll make sure that I have audio. So let me get this thing flipped up here, and we're gonna flip over here to the video so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm terrible at doing this. I really am, and I usually screw it up. Screen share. We'll do the window. Now let me go over here. Okay, there's audio back. Check. Okay, good. I do see audio. Okay, that's good. All right. Now we're good. Now let me just get my face out of there. All right. Hey, we're banging and slapping and banging. So the thing we want to look at today, I want to show you guys on the site here. We'll just go back to the subwoofer line. And we're going to do a little talking about this. Some of the things we're going to look at, okay? First thing we're going to look at is, I haven't dug into this much at all, so I'm kind of looking at it. I'm looking at it with you guys. Let's go over here to, okay, so on page 2. All right, so on page 2, we have the basically the clearance going on for the Oblivion version 1s. And that's going to include, looks like the 12 and the 15s. So you see the prices you're getting over here at $239 for the 15 and $229 for the 12. I've been running 4 of the Oblivion 15s this whole year and had real good luck with them. And the version 1s. And oh, that big boy's over here too. That thing's expensive. I mean, it's cheap for what it is, but that's a big, huge Neo 15. But what we want to look at is some of the differences, and I'm going to pull up we're going to do note for note here. So we're going to pull up the D2s for 4 subs, the D4s. We're going to pull up the 4s. If you're ever having trouble remembering that, just remember dual 4s for 2 subs, dual 2s for 4 subs. That's if you're just using one amplifier. But in this case, I'm doing dual 4s because I'm running 2 amplifiers. So it's technically two subs per amp. So I'd run D4s. Now, what we're going to look at is on the old ones, we're going to look at the recommended box tuning, which is 28 to 33 hertz, and the suggested ported box size. And that's 3.25 to 4 cubic feet. All right, now, and that's 28 to 33 hertz. So 28 to 33 hertz, and then 3.25 to 4. Now, if we go back to the new ones, D4s, and we go down to the same spot, these are 3.3 to 3.9. It's a little narrower range. The frequency range is still the same, so that's good. You'll also notice that the X-Max increased. So it's 31 millimeter one way, or 62 millimeters of full swing end-to-end port, or end-to-end X-Max, which is a lot of movement. And I noticed a few other things about the new subs. Okay, the FS is 31 hertz. That's good. The displacement is 2.3. The mounting depth is still right at 10 inches. It was slightly less on the version 1, and the weight is 49 pounds. So if we go back, I need to have 2 screens for this. This would be so much easier with 2 screens. You know what? I am just overcomplicating my entire life. So the point is, this is what we need to know. This is the information we need to know. I think they gained quite a bit, actually. It went from a 270 ounce magnet to a 300 ounce magnet. I think that this displacement went up a tiny bit, which helps, because if you remember, the other one was 2 point, I forgot what it was now, to 4. It was 4 cubic foot was the top end of that. It's like 2 1/4 or 3 1/4 or 3.3. I don't remember. But this went down slightly, this top number, just a little bit. And I think I am close to this number right now, but I know I need to be at least above this number. So what I'm working on in my enclosure is redoing and strengthening the inside of the box some more, building in a little bit of roundovers and doing some sealing, and reinforcing and lengthening my port, and round over in the port. I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff. You guys, if you haven't, you need to go ahead and subscribe, and click on the 2026 build log. And there's a couple of videos there already where we're kind of discussing it and also getting started on it. And I've got projects. This whole week is going to be just slap full of work, as much as I can do physically. And we're going to be putting these guys in there. So we're putting in 4 of these. I already know that I got a 153.3 out of the version 1s on the glass. And that's good. That was with 8,000. Essentially, it was 2 amplifiers, but they were running at 2 ohms. So I was running 4,000 watts per amplifier, which means my max at 1 ohm static load was around 8,000 watts, which means that at a 3.2 ohms, whenever I was at full tilt boogie, getting that impedance rise, I was actually probably only putting out about 5,000 watts out of 2 amplifiers into 4 subs. I was only putting about 1,000 and 250 to each sub. with this the new subs with the 4 ohm load, wired down to 1 ohm per amp. I'll be putting about twice that much power into these subs, and so we got more motor force, more power, more X Max, more awesome, more everything, and things are going to get real and real awesome. And that's what we're looking for, is real and real awesome. Let's get over here into the chat functionality and figure out what's going on over here. I know I've been noticing out of the corner of my eye, I've been noticing that there's been things happening in the chat window. So let's see what's going on. 300 ounce. Yeah. 300 ounce gets the job done, my friend. Never played like that. If you want to talk to me, human like, no secrets. Best way to get the best it takes. Yeah. Sweet. Yeah. There you go. Absolutely. No, dude. In the 90s, it was really intense. A lot of people didn't want their pictures taken in magazines even, because they didn't want no one seeing the inside of their box. They would keep the windows tinted so dark, keep it all closed up, sneak the mic in there and do the run and then get it out of there. They didn't want nobody knowing nothing about what they did in their front, outside, and nothing. It was crazy. What Rambo said, hey, what's up? Joe Berserker. Oh, goodness. That's a word. Joe said, I've been researching dodecahedron box. That's a whole lot of syllables. Dodecahedrons. I'm trying to remember what shape that is. It's a dodecahedron. Okay, yeah. Smart ass. Can't figure it out. I would love to do some crazy thing like that. Like an octagon box, for example. An octagon where you had like a mirror at the end and all the subs just kind of went into infinity. That kind of shit's amazing and awesome. But I can't get in there and do that work. I could design it, and I could walk someone through it step by step and build it, but I can't get in there and do the work anymore. T. Corley said, I remember box secrecy later. Yeah. Early 2000s. Yeah. It wasn't so much in the 2000s. It was starting to go away because the internet was starting to be a thing, and people were, that group was just aging out. A lot of us was. And not everybody stuck around after they got into their late 20s or 30s. Some of us OGs have been doing this shit since before car audio. Well, I mean, since before, big SPL kind of subwoofers and stuff in car audio. I started putting in stuff I was putting stuff in the 70s. I was a kid, but I was installing car audio in the 70s. That's what the funny thing is I look at it myself. I don't feel like I'm an experienced installer. I don't feel that way because I haven't spent my whole life doing it, but I kind of have. And then I go look at somebody else working in a store, that's got it's a really good installer. And I'm like, and then like, I've been doing this for like 8 years. I'm like, you're an awesome installer, but I'm thinking to myself, 8 years. I mean, that doesn't seem for, I don't know. It's just dumb. I look up to those people, 8, 10, 15 years, 20 years. That stuff's crazy. Someone who's got 20 years of experience, but I realized I got way more than that. I just wasn't doing it constantly throughout that entire time. But I was working with stuff back when there really wasn't much car audio. It was a radio and some speakers and whatever else you figured out how to make. That's what you had to work with. There was no aftermarket market. There was no aftermarket. None. Like none. You couldn't even go buy car speakers anywhere. You were like replacing car speakers with house speakers or fixing the speakers. It was a different time, man. a 12-sided pentagon, a 12-sided thing. So basically a circle. Got it. That sounds cool. Rick Ross in the house. What's up, Rick Ross? Let's see here. T. Corley. I remember how people getting caught cheating in SPL comps. Oh, God. Oh, man. Having to do with Bix ports, not so much as for the power. Box ports, yeah. 92 for me. Got my license in 93. Bobby B is in the house. He finally showed up. I thought he was going to be here eventually. What's up, Marco? Merino Valley in the house. We're talking about dodecahedrons in here tonight, Bobby. So just let you know, you better get your ruler out. You got to keep up, man. No, we we did stuff like if you guys are familiar with like pro audio. When I say pro audio, that's not going to bring up the right image. Like DJs, familiar with DJs and concerts and shit like that. We would take that kind of equipment and put it in cars. I took, at one time, I had a I can tell you this little one. I had a 1975 Ford LTD2, which is basically a Thunderbird, except it had vertical stacked square headlights instead of the horizontal flip up headlights. Other than that, it pretty much looked like a Thunderbird, the 79, 78 Thunderbird. Anyway, it had a big old huge back dash, and it had two 6x9s back there originally. I took and cut all that out, put plywood back there, used F26. Oh, it was liquid nails, I believe. This was in the 90s, I guess. So things had gone a little bit at this point. But I glued down a 3/4 inch plywood back there with liquid nails and screws. And I had 4 10-inch subs in the back dash of that car. This was actually after car audio had started growing. Of course, this was in the early 90s. And it sounded really good until the big bass notes hit. Like, as long as you were playing like, mid bass, like 40 hertz, 50 hertz and up, it would hit clean as hell. But the whole setup fell apart whenever the big bass hit because there was no control in these subs. And I didn't know anything about, Q factor or any of that stuff at the time. So I just put subs in the back dash and put an amplifier on them, and shit went wrong, but it sounded good at certain parts of the music and it was sounding like garbage in the others. And that was one of my builds. I've done a bunch of stuff though. I mean, many builds, but going back to when I was a teenager, we did, my buddy had a 1978 Mercury Marquis, and we put it was like a DJ tower. It had like 6/8 in it, or I think like 6 8-inch speakers in it. And they were speakers. They were not subwoofers. They were just speakers. And we figured out a way to mount that in the back dash of that big old Mercury. And there's a long, thin, tall stick of a speaker. And we were powering that. I can't remember what we had, but it was something running off of 12 volts. It was like some kind of music amp that was running off of 12 volts back there. And it was just that in the back dash. That was it. It was fired up straight at the back glass. It would melt your brain how loud that thing was. But it was not a bass monster. It was just screaming loud. That was pretty cool. So there was not a large amount of 12 volt amplifiers or 12 volt equalizers or 12 volt anything. It was, we made stuff. We had to figure out what would work, you pull apart an amplifier and find the transformer inside of it. And then you'd wire past the transformer to use DC voltage, because the transformer turns AC into DC. and you just wire past that transformer and turn that, power that equipment off of straight DC. But it had to be something close to 12 volts that it needed, or else it wouldn't work. So there was a whole lot of insanity we did back then. Home stereos mounted in the car, you know, big old home stereo equalizers in the front of the car. When computers started to be a thing, you see people with computers in the car. The whole damn thing, towers. They have towers in their trunk and have a monitor like, cut and welded into the dash and shit like that, because we have big CRT monitors. Things were just weird. And we were working with crazy, crazy combinations of stuff. But the stuff that was created, the guys that really put the work in, it was still really wicked cool, even though it was, by today's standards, just mental. You know what I'm saying? Hell, it was mental back then. But a lot of stuff, there were so many different phases that happened in my life. I've seen so many different things go where one thing was coming up and then it would come up and get real big and then die, and then something else would come up and get real big and die. I've seen that happen so many times. I started out with 8-track tapes and record players in cars. That was a big deal to put a record player in a car. We had 8-tracks. We had cassettes. I saw the 8-tracks come and go. I saw the record player idea come and go. I saw the cassette tapes come and go. I saw CDs come and go. I've lived a long damn time, and I've seen a whole lot of shit happen. So it's really interesting. I can just, there's so many phases of what's happened in the car audio world since I've been messing around with this stuff, and it's kind of intense. See, don't forget the thumbs up. Hell no. Y'all be sure and slap that finger. Slap that thumb. Let's see. Rambo? You guys are awesome. My buddies are all here tonight. Most of you anyway. There's still some that ain't showed up yet. 12-sided Pentagon, Rick Ross. I'm here even though I'm late. Let's see. T. Corley. What'd you say? Hold on. I missed your message. I don't want to miss anybody. Been researching the dodecahedron. I'm surprised I pronounced that correctly the first time I said it. My brain usually doesn't work that well. A few people getting caught in SPL, right, with box and ports. 92. Bobby Burke said, yo. El Fuego's in the house. What's up, El Fuego? From the Pacific Northwest. Friendliest man in the car audio. No shit. He's also one of the most well-known names. You can walk into any car audio competition and just randomly use the name El Fuego a few times, and at least half the people that hear it are going to know who you're talking about. He's so well known in the car audio circle. Let's see. Joe Berserker said, awesome. I took apart an old Electro Voice record player when I was like 7. Yeah, I did the same shit. I took apart all kinds of radios, clock radios, boom boxes. And I figured out early on in my life that if you take a little speaker, even just a little bitty speaker, and put it in a great big huge cardboard box, it sounded great. My mom didn't like it, but she didn't complain because I was doing stuff. And she saw that my wheels were turning in my head, and she let me do shit. She let me tear it up and fix it and figure it out. And that was really, really, man, guys, I cannot stress this enough, man. When you see a kid destroying something, but trying to make something with it, don't even get in the way. Don't even say a word. Just let them learn, man. Because what they're breaking is pointless. It's junk anyway. Who cares? What they're gaining is a whole wealth of knowledge about how something works and how changing parts of it make it work different. And man, that wrapping your head around that kind of stuff at an early age sets you up for so many amazing things in life. But I did stuff like taking the speakers out of headphones and putting them in a box. And like, wow, that's all of a sudden loud. Why does that work? Why does it work that way? How does that work? And over time, asking those questions and getting those answers and figuring those answers out just led to a deeper understanding of how car audio and how audio in general works. And when you understand audio, you also understand fluid dynamics. You know, you understand thermodynamics. You understand, like, all this shit's tied together. Once you understand part of it, it doesn't take but just the tiniest little push, and all of a sudden you figure out the connection between this and that. You know, understanding how sound wave works means you understand how waves work, understand how microwaves work, you understand how the radiation works, you understand how hydrodynamics and aerodynamics work, you understand how all this stuff works. That's all comes from one little deep understanding of one subject spreads into others. And man, don't ever, never, ever, ever complain when your kid's tearing stuff up and trying to do something stupid with it. Just let them go, man. It was a crappy toy to start with. Now it's an experiment. Now it's a learning experience, better than any school they'll ever go to. And I mean, that's what my parents did. My mom, my dad, I didn't have it. My dad wasn't in my life, but my stepdad was a bit of a jackass. But he wanted to help. He tried to help. He taught me a lot of good lessons. But he come from that school where you just beat kids and, you know, they just let them do whatever they want, but you beat them all the time to keep them straight. That was kind of his mentality. My mom, on the other hand, worked with electronics her whole life, so she understood kind of what I was thinking, and her mind was wide and creative like that. She saw what was going on and just let me go, you know, let me have at it. And I appreciate it so much because I realized what she was doing at the time now, and I appreciate it. Um, let's see, Bobby sent you, Bobby hollered at you per usual. Hell yeah, man. I remember breaking 140 or so dB, made the CD skip. Oh god, dude. So yeah, we went into lots of problems. There was of course the phase of going from a cassette tape to a CD, and in the world outside of insane car audio, people were dealing with problems with CD skipping when they were running or walking or just moving a CD player around like a personal player. Well, at the same time, the bass heads are going through the same problem with CD skipping. So most of them were still running cassette tape because it didn't skip, you know. And then when you went to the big screens, the big, you know, full screens, uh, the bass would destroy those. So a lot of the guys were sticking with the single DIN head unit so the screen wouldn't get destroyed. Early on, those things were prone to failure from all the intense vibrations. All this crap, these are all just humps. They're all humps in the development cycle of all these different things. And I was in there for a whole lot of them. I mean, I was there for a whole lot of them, and I'm very happy that I was. Joe said, I only have a 2K slap right now, so I'm on 80 amp hours of lithium. You'll be fine on 80 amp hours of lithium. Uh, I think that the 10K version 1 that I'm running is like just shy of 100 amp hours, and I'm going to be pulling like 1,500 amps out of it. 1,000 to 1,500, depending on what's going on. Jason said, "What's up? What's up, brother?" Um, let's see here. You God, what's up, man? I noticed you have the Mars face. It's pretty cool. That was an interesting thing. Uh, Going up to a 5K or 8K next. Yeah, no doubt. More power is better. Tame Sword watching from Lexington, Kentucky. What's up, man? Welcome to the show. Franco Quaid. No, you're not late. I'm actually early. The show normally starts at 7, but I was feeling froggy, and I just got back from Menards. I had to go get a list of stuff. I needed some pieces and parts for the projects that are coming up this week. I needed some bulk paint. So Menards will get back in the paint section. Whenever they end up mixing something and not selling it, they put it on the shelf back there at a drastically reduced price. Now I picked up this. It's kind of gray with just a hint, just a touch of a violet color to it, which is, I mean, it's like a kind of a really, 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 really light rose color, if you will. But it's mostly gray. Anyway, that's going on the inside of the box. When I get done with the construction I'm doing on the inside of the box, I'm going to coat the interior of the box with many lovingly applied layers of this color to smooth and seal and make the interior as smooth and hard and sealed as I possibly can. That's the objective. Now, this may not go. I may end up having to do something different, but I got a gallon of paint, a gallon of this semi-gloss paint for $9. So, yeah, I should have got the high gloss. I may go get me another can of high gloss. That's smoother, slicker, more sound wave bouncy. Let's see here. I got a problem with songs. Rick Ross said I have a problem with his Bluetooth player skipping. Yeah, good luck, man. Now, bro, if you're hitting so hard you're skipping the Bluetooth, you ain't got a problem. You have a solution. I tell you what, my buddy's running though, the mad scientist. He's doing a basically like an MP3 player. And I'm considered doing this, like a dedicated, like just getting them in an MP3 player and like a high end one or a better one that has like a nice cool screen, and then setting it up like that. It would be just dedicated to holding music files. Because right now I'm running a tablet, which kind of works that way with extra stuff, but I don't need the extra stuff. I just need just a player that I can I think that the trick is being able to easily transfer files from my computer to the player. Right now I have to like go through a complicated process to move files over. And I'd like it to be more streamlined because I'm always mixing up new stuff, creating music and mixing and bass and rebase and stuff. And I'd like to be able to just move files over easier onto something that was a dedicated player. And we try to plug in a USB drive. I can play the files off the drive, but moving them from the drive to the tablet is one of those fights. It's a war. And I want to take that war away and make it super easy. So anyway, that's another problem for a different time. Fuzzy logic, Joe said. Lexington, Kentucky. What's up, Rob Richards? Talking about second amp, I was wired at 0.5 with 4 15s on a Big Boss 8K. That is already putting you in Sketchyville. I know this. I was wired. I was at 154.6 when I got the second Big Boss at 1 ohm and hit a 157 on that glass. Yeah. Because you went to 1 ohm. That's a much more better situation. When it comes to the Tar Amps 8Ks, they will run it at 0.5 ohms. They will. But as Bass 91 has learning, they don't like it. They will cut off. They will get to a certain point where you're pulling enough current through them and they will just turn off. They're going to protect. While this is a good thing, keeps your amplifier from blowing up. It also keeps you from being able to pull the power you're looking for out of the amplifier. So I always suggest trying to wire, unless you're just going for burps. And even then, man, try to wire at the amplifier's minimum ohm load or higher. you're going to overall have a better experience. The shit's going to last longer. It's not going to give you near as many problems. You're not going to have weird protect issues. You're not going to overheat the amplifier so much. It's just going to be a more stable platform if you run at the amp's minimum ohm load of a static ohm load. And most people will figure that out. Guitar amps, once you get past the 8K, anything above that, you start to get in the territory where they like to catch on fire. And that doesn't mean they all do it, but the 15 and the 30 is really prone to it. And that's an expensive piece of equipment to have start shooting flames. And they didn't exactly, up until current, they haven't really done the best job of using the right components for that much power. They've been trying to get away with something that's not quite rated for the amount of current that they're going to pull through them. And I guess they just thought that was still going to work. But it hasn't. It doesn't go past 8,000 watts very well. Anything over an 8K in the Guitar Amps line, the current pieces of equipment that are out right now, not the best tech in them for making the power that they make. And so if you get one, be careful. Watch for something new to come out. Maybe jump in that bandwagon, because they're, like I said, they didn't scale up past that point very well. The equipment didn't. Just throwing that out there. This is from what I've seen. El Fuego said, I'm a loser. No, sir, you are not a loser. You are awesome. Yep, exactly. Rick Ross told you. Let's see. What dB? Okay, let's see. He says, what dB level would consider a rig to be a solid block beater? A solid block beater, somewhere between 140 and 150 is generally, that's the range that people get into. Usually run the MSD class, which is the entry level class into cardio competitions. It tops out at 150, really. Most people make a hard limit at 150, and you're not going to be competitive anything below 140. So yeah, I'd say 140 to 150 is that general range. And Joe Berserker said 140 plus dB is solid. Block beater 150 plus on my thought pattern. Yeah. I mean, once you get up loud enough to where when you drive by the house, the lights come on, I guess that's it. I don't base in residential areas, guys. I really don't. I may do it during the daytime, during banker's hours, 9 to 5. I may occasionally. I typically turn down when I go through residential areas. I don't try to base out. I will absolutely destroy the front of a business, though. I don't care. I'll shake the windows and rattle the door and knock stuff off the shelves. And yes, I've done all that stuff in front of a business. That's just part of doing business. I don't care about that. But when it comes to people at home, I try to show respect to them. Not always. It don't always work out. Sometimes I'll be out on the main street going by businesses and still disturbing people in the apartments behind the business. I've had that happen. I actually had the cops called on me. I was in a McDonald's parking lot, or not, a Wendy's parking lot, and in the back behind the store, and I was letting it rip a little bit, and there was apartments way across over there, like a block over, like half a block away, and people in that apartment called the cops, and the cops come up there. It's a video. I got a video on that. But yeah, we get crazy with it. We're mentally messed up people. MB says a 135 is a here before you see me. Yeah. 135 is, yeah, it's I mean, it's from a distance, or block beater, which means you can hear it on the outside and stuff. 135 is a shade on the weak side, but I'd agree with that. kind of depends on the setup. You can be fairly loud outside the vehicle with that if you got enough mids and highs and you got everything done right. Yeah, 140 is kind of where I'd call it though. I know a lot of you guys wasn't here, so we're going to switch back over to this screen again, and I want to talk a little bit more about the star of the show tonight. And these are the guys exactly. These are what's going in the Tahoe. So you'll notice, well, you may not because you haven't put enough eyeball time in to catch it, but the surround is bigger on these. They've changed the surround. It is more of a fat roll surround now than the peak roll surround it was on the original version ones. And there's a slight bit more X-Max in this. So we got a little bit more travel. We've got a much bigger motor than the version ones have. And yeah, overall things are happening. There's more motor force in here. The RMS is still rated at 2,000 watts, but I have it on good authority that is a underrated number. So, you know, you could probably run them at 2,500 RMS. Consider that number. If you got brains. If you don't have no brains, then use the 2,000 one. But that's underrated. Of course, they do come with the 4-inch, 4-layer black coated voice coil. And this particular one is dual 4 ohms. Pressed paper cone with hard plastic dust cap, very hard. The high roll surround, I'm really a big fan of the new thing. The 300-ounce triple stack magnet, double layer Nomex spider packs, dual tinsel leads, 6-gauge push terminals. These are get her done subs. So 31 hertz FS. I think that's lower than the other one. I could be wrong, but I want to go back and look. The QTS is 0.63. Oh, let's see here. I'm pretty sure that's lower. I could be wrong about that too. I'm just working out of my brain. A 29.7 BL, which is a really good BL. There's a lot of motor force in there for, you know, a 300-ounce magnet. That's quite a bit of motor force. Suggested ported box size is 3.3 to 3.9. I think I'm right at 4 cubes right now. So I'm going to have, whenever I start doing all this reinforcement on the inside, that'll help pull that number down a little bit, and I'll be right in the middle of those. Suggested port is at 28 to 33. We're going to be tuning to probably around 26, 25. I think we'll be okay. Now, it's interesting that Slapz also makes a comment down here. I love the fact that Alan does this because it helps people. If you just look, he's giving you really solid advice. Said to power these subwoofers properly, a 3,000 watt 1 ohm monoblock amplifier per subwoofer is at the mechanical limit of the sub and would be at the RMS power handling with rise. We do not suggest a larger amplifier or failure can occur. So he's literally listing, put a 3,000 watt amp on each one. That's what he's saying. And you're going to be golden. It's the perfect match. Okay? And I love how he's doing that. This is a specific number that he's tested. He's got everything out and tested it. And this is what he's come up with. This is how much power it takes to get the job done. I love that. It's just straightforward. Do not use the version 2s in the same enclosure with the version 1. Absolutely. They're not identical. Let's see here what else we got. Oh, there's pictures down there, but that's not what we're looking for. So these are the version 1s actually down here on the bottom. We'll click on them and look at some of the numbers and see what they changed. It's easier than going back the other direction. So we got the same ratings. Let's see. See, the mounting depth is a little bit less. That new magnet is looks like it's about half an inch to an inch taller, because that changed the mounting depth. And this changed a little bit too. It has a little bit more displacement now. So yeah, see, the FS on these is 35 hertz. So the FS on the new ones is 31 hertz. So that's a big change. And the QTS did go down. So the QTS on the old ones was 0.83. The QTS on the new ones was 0.6 something. So that went down. Big differences. And the BL, it's got more than twice the BL. That's a big deal. There's a lot of things that have changed. The X-Max on the V1s is 30 millimeters, and the X-Max on the V2s is 31 millimeters. The port tuning is the same. The placement is not exactly the same. It's a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller. So it's actually like 3.3 on the small side and 3.9 on the big side, where these are 3.25 on the small side and 4 on the big side. So the box constraints are a little bit tighter, but the port tuning has remained the same. So I think we can get away being as the well, my brain just turned right the hell off. Being as the FS went from 35 to 31, I think we won't have any trouble dropping it down a couple of notes lower than what we were with the other tune. So yes, wicked sub, man. This thing right here is a straight up nasty little beast. And the prices, it's on the website. That's the thing. It's on the website now. You can pick up the 15s for $314.99 and the 12s for $299.99, which is an awesome deal for some really wicked bad subs. And there's more things coming. What else? Am I missing anything on here that he's changed? I hadn't looked this over yet. Yeah, there's something else coming that's not listed yet, but it's going to be on the extreme budget side. So just heads up that there's more stuff coming. You need to keep checking the site. And of course, right now you can get the 15 version 1 SmackDowns for $409. And with my discount code on all this stuff, you can knock 10% off of that. So if you were to get these, you can get them for $360 ish, and that's even more badass. With these guys here, you can get another $31.40 off of that. So you can get those down to like $280 for the 15s and like $270 ish for the 12s. It's very good prices, and you're getting some monster subs that can do big boy things for a great price. And of course, the amplifiers, guys. Don't forget the amplifiers. I mean, look at the prices on these amplifiers. This 8K, I'm running 2 of these right now. That is a wicked little freaking 8K, $359. With my discount code, you can knock, $36 off of that. All this stuff is good, man. And that 3K for those 15s, you see, well, let's go out here and look at this. The 3K version 1 right here, if you run a single one of those, it would be $179. So if you did the $179 plus, that'd be $180 plus what was it? $315? $315, yeah. So just call that 200 and then 500. So $500, you could pick up one of these version 215s and the amplifier to power it. You'd have a really ballsy 3,000 watt amplifier and a 15-inch sub for $500. And then use my discount code, get 10% off of that. Looking at about $450 for a 3,000 watt amp and a 2,000 watt RMS sub. Where else are you going to get that kind of value? It just doesn't exist, guys. It does not exist anywhere. This is giving you big boy toys for little boy money, and I don't know how else to cover it. I've already been there and checked out prices. There are cheaper subs out there, but they're not going to do what these guys do. You know, they're going to play alongside some much more expensive equipment, and you're getting a great deal from a great company. You know, everything is good. Discount code CAE, knock 10% off of everything you put in the basket when you go over here. And if in case you're trying to find wiring components, if you go over to the wiring section, we do have a one alt gauge OFC wiring kit. Very nice wiring kit for $130. $130. Go buy some OFC one alt gauge. Go buy any amount. Just go buy some. It don't take but a hot second to get up and past this, and you're getting a good fuse holder. You're getting all the stuff you need. It's all there, the whole kit, for $130, guys. I mean, shit. The prices are off the chain. It's good stuff. Got the double fuse setups here for two people running 2 amplifiers. Got the little dual alt gauge converters. These are the 10 gauge to dual 8 gauge converters. So you can do cool, crazy stuff. And there's going to be more stuff coming in here. But this right here is a hell of a deal. That kit's a hell of a deal. Just saying. Let's see what's going on. I'm like I missed a few things here. Holy crap. I'm going back. I'm looking. Block beater. I'm just scanning down through here and trying to figure out where I left off. Okay. Now we're yeah. H probably one of the best smaller subs. MB. Okay, yeah. Okay. We'll talk about MB. He does know his stuff. 100%. MB is a 100% smart cat. He knows. He learned the way I learned, which is by banging your head into the wall until you make a hole in the wall that fits the size of your head. That's how MB came up. You know, he didn't go to college to learn how to do this shit. He just started cutting and putting subs together until he figured out what worked. And that's, you're going to get a different level of knowledge by learning that way. MB definitely has that. And I trust his opinion on everything. 100% solid cat. What do I think my score will be after the rebuild? And I'm not going a full rebuild. We're just doing a resurfacing. I'm hoping, I'm really hoping that I'm going to be up knocking on 60, man. Realistically, I think I'm going to be I'm going to be up around 57, 58. I'm hoping to be in that area, but really hoping to be able to knock on a 60, getting real close to a 60. And that's reaching because I don't have an SPL build. It's built for demos, and that means that all the port optimization is not there to make it work the best for SPL. It's going to work the best for hair tricks and air and playing lows. But I'd like to be able to scratch out something up in that area. We're going to see. It's optimistic, and I'm going to do everything I can to make it happen. But we'll see what happens. Yes, from 2K to 3K on each sub, 1.5, 2B if not more. Yeah, that's the thing. And you mean by default, you're looking at going 3 dB louder just by doubling power alone. Which will put me at a 30 or a 56, right? 56 point something. So by default, I should be up in that area. I'm hoping I get up into that 60 range. We're going to see though. Joe said he should specify at what ohm sub is wired and what enclosure. Um, we're talking about what Alan put on the Slapz. It's more of a spitball at the wall kind of thing. You know, people are not going to do everything the same. But I will say this as a rule, when it comes to subwoofers, this is my advice, and I think it's solid advice. When you're given a range of box, okay, say it's 3 to 4 cubic feet, just keep it simple. If you plan on putting rated power on it and maybe a little more, you're almost always going to want to err on the side of the lower number of that range. So if you plan on putting a lot of power on it, you know, more than what it's rated or at rated power, you're going to want to go with the smaller cubic feet number for cone control, most likely, or towards that side. If you're going to be putting less power on it than it's rated, not quite pushing it to its max, you can expand more into the area of the higher number that it's rated for as far as cubic feet. That's been my experience. It's never a good idea to go with the full rated size and go full power or more on a sub. You're going to probably wind up with some mechanical issues. That's just across the board with any sub in any situation. That's been my experience. Just bear that shit in mind whenever you're designing and fitting. That's kind of the direction that you're going to want to go. And I bet you NB would agree with me. That series is best for BL. Mm-hmm. Because you're utilizing both coils and series, which means you're going to have, so it'd be going higher BL. And that is interesting to think about too. But we're going to be running. I'm running a series on my subs right now. But again, we're wiring at 2 ohms. And we're going to be running parallel on the coils to do the new thing. Get a monster amp and go series wiring. Could do that too. Oh yeah, welcome to the show. It's like the loser I said the prices are great. I agree 100%, man. Welcome. Joe said you can't beat Slapz right now. Yeah, I mean, like I said, you can find cheaper stuff, but it's not going to be the quality that you're getting with Slapz. That's the thing. You know, you'd be trading right now. You're not trading down, man. You're straight up getting some high quality stuff at a really good price. That's what we're all about. I don't want to have to buy it and go, oh, well, I only paid $120 for it and it blows up in a week. And now I got to pay another $120 or I got to pay, screw that. I want to get something that's solid, that's going to do the job and get it at the best price I can. And that's what Slapz brings to the table. And that's why I love this company. El Fuego says Slapz ain't slapping your wallet. That's right, baby. I'm gonna tell you, man, Alan is something else, dude. He just keeps blowing me away with how his brain works. So like I could have bought bigger subs. I could have bought the SmackDowns. And I actually talked to him about it. He said for my setup, I shouldn't because they would require more airspace and I would have to redo the box. Everything would have to get completely redone. He said, you don't want to run them in that airspace. You're not going to like it. So I offered the man more money for a big upgrade. Okay. And he said, I shouldn't do that. That's the kind of guy this is that's running this company. He turned it down because he knew it wasn't the right thing for my particular situation. There ain't a better person to do business with than somebody that will hand you your money back and deny you a sale because it ain't right for you. That shit says a lot about character of a person. I mean, a lot. But after talking about him, I agreed. This is what I needed to do. And he knew that. And he wasn't going to set me up for failure. And, you know, I just find that freaking awesome. I find that locks me into a person that puts the customer before the sale. I got all kind of respect for that. I guarantee you there ain't no other manufacturers out there. There's no other sellers out there that would do that. They would just hand the money over and let you do whatever the hell kind of stupid thing you wanted to do and wouldn't even try to stop you. I mean, you just got to respect someone who actually cares, man. That's a big deal to me. Joe. Jacob. What's up, Jacob? That's the wiring kit I bought. It was about, I was intro to Slapz like 2 years ago. Can't beat it. Hell yeah, dude. Steven said, good to see you since I seen you last. Well, nice to see you too, man. I am alive and doing things. I don't know who you're talking to. See, Jacob, so yeah, you may be talking to Jacob. I don't know, but I'm doing good. And Jacob is, I don't know, Jacob is here. I don't know if he's doing good or not. He could be hanging upside down in the hospital in traction. I don't know, but he's here, damn it. So that's what counts. And I had pork chops today. So y'all just respect the pork chops. They was freaking good. My wife knocked that shit out of the park. And I'm still working off them pork chops right now. I'm still cooking them pork chops in my belly. Let's see here. T. Corley said, I believe and you shall achieve, believe and you shall achieve a 160. I mean, look, I'm like this. I just want to be doing like a 56 or 57, something like that. I want to be in that area. But there is a part of me that would love to at least one time see a 160 pop up on that meter just because. And for no other reason of just because. I remember my first 50, and I was like, I lost my freaking mind when I saw that. There's something about achieving a goal like that or achieving a specific rung of a ladder. And it's like if you got a car and you're building a hot rod, and you've been working on this engine and you think it's going to be a certain place and you're trying to get it just right. And you want it to be able to make 500 horsepower, right? And you never, ever are going to be using that 500 horsepower, maybe one time, like on a drag one night. But you still want to see it happen just once, just to know that you made it to that particular spot just one time. It has nothing to do with the power. It has nothing to do with the way it's going to make you feel. It has nothing to do with the drive that you're going to have and the enjoyment you're getting out of the vehicle. It's just seeing that number pop up one time, that confirmation that you did things right. That affirming number. That's kind of a thing. I'd kind of like to see that, but I mean, if it don't get there, I'm not disappointed at all. But it would be cool to see it. El Fuego, so what's the biggest Slapz build out there? There are, I've seen 8 18s, Smackdowns. I don't know, man. There's some pretty big ones though. But hopefully I got the coolest one. And I've seen some really big ones. A lot of the Smackdowns are real popular in the SPL world. And for a good reason. They're really good subs. I mean, they're competing with mid-level, sundown stuff at, a third of the price. And so they're big boy subs. I'm trying to build stuff. I'm trying to build the coolest, loudest, craziest thing I can do on the most budget-friendly equipment that I can run. That's my objective. That's always been my objective. Now I've got connections. I've got connections all over the industry. I'm talking to people way up in the companies at many companies. I could run pretty much anything I wanted to run in there. I could run anything. I've got connections with a whole bunch of different. I talk to Jacob Fuller every now and then on Messenger. We talk. I got connections. That's not the point. The point, anybody can go and drop, $15,000-$20,000 in a build and make it cool and loud. I'm trying to do something different. You got what's his name? Parker. You got Parker building a Walmart build. That's an example of the kind of mentality I'm looking for. Now, he went extreme. He's building a straight up all Walmart build. Well, that's a theme. So, it's really, it's going to need more power. His power is one of the things he's suffering with right now. But the point is, he said, I'm going to build it the Walmart, cheap Walmart build. That's it. And that's cool. I'm somewhere in between him and somebody else. I want to build the most logical build that get me the loudest and the most powerful and the windiest and coolest I can, but save money. I don't care if it comes from Walmart or not, right? And I found a company that actually gives you that bracket where you're getting stuff that's good equipment, but at similar to Walmart prices in that general area. That's what I was shopping for, and I found it. So that's the kind of build that I'm trying to produce, and it's a smart build. I want to use engineering and creative design to get to the best place, and so that's what I'm doing. I know it's complicated, and I'm over explaining everything. Let's see here. Joe said, trust is key for repeat customers. Yes, 100%, my friend. He's got his shit together. He's a good guy. I've been looking at Slapz subs recently. Great timing with the code. No problem, my friend. Pork chops. Yeah, son, a good pork chop, man, that's the best piece of meat there is, in my opinion. I like chicken. I like steak. I like all that stuff. But, man, a good, fat, juicy pork chop, that tops it all, man. I mean, it's just freaking good eating. What we do is you take the pork chops and you put them in a piece of aluminum foil, right? And you add your veggies, and you can put like jalapenos and little chunks of potatoes and onions and seasoning and some butter and all that kind of stuff in there. And then you fold it up into a full burrito with a pork chop in it. And you put those in a pan. You put however many you want to do in your pan, and then throw them in the oven and just let them cook for about an hour or so. And all them juices from the vegetables all soak into the pork chops, and it works its way in there and gets nice and tender. And man, and then you make some mashed potatoes on the side, maybe a little mac and cheese, and you can use the gravy from the pork chops on the potatoes. Son, it's good shit. It's really good stuff. Red Pill said it just got here. Immediate thumbs up to the stream, and I'm still clowning Rico for trying to charge $1,500 for a sub. Right? And boys are on crack. They've been the laugh of the internet from that. It's like, what a faux pas, man. I mean, even if the sub, let's say hypothetically that sub is legitimately worth that money. Let's say it competes. Let's say that sub can compete solidly with GP's version 2 Great Undertaker sub. Okay? Which is $300 cheaper, by the way. Even if that happens, the company does not have a name. They have not got the market for that. They're not in that market. They're completely out of that market. I mean, it's like, get in where you fit in, my friend. They're in the scar market, right? And not even really in the scar market. They're in a different. They're more like, I feel like, better quality stuff than scar stuff at less price than scar charges for the same or similar stuff. But they're not in the same market as Sundown's high level stuff, which is where they're trying to get. It just they're in the wrong. They don't fit in there, and then they're going to have to sell a ridiculously priced sub with nothing to back it up, no history to back it up. They haven't built up a customer base that's ready to pay that kind of money for equipment coming from a company that they're not used to hearing about. They haven't built up a following to where they can offer something on trust like that. It was just a really dumb marketing. That's what it was done. It was dumb to design a sub that was going to try to command that kind of price coming from that company. That loser said, I'd be very happy with a 160. Oh, sir, you have no idea. See, if I can hit a 160 on that flat wall, that puts me in the same territory as another buddy of mine on our team that's running a sixth order with 6 Trinity 15s in there, and he does 60s, 59 to 60, and that's his top end range. If I can actually touch that and get in there with him with 415s and a flat wall from Slapz, that would make me so happy to see the look on his face when I did that. That said, it probably ain't gonna happen, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna give it hell. I would be one of the loudest guys in our area if I can do that. I may get there. Who knows? We'll see. Cornnut said there was a Slapz build at Surf City, but I ain't seen it. But I seen it on Saturday during SQ judging. Never made it back to get a demo on Sunday. Well, that's sad, Cornnut. I'm sorry that you didn't manage to get that demo. That would have been cool. Oh, yeah. Franco Quaid said, you see US Amps coming out with an SPL amplifier. US Amps is another company that's made some really weird decisions since they've resurfaced. They're relying on their name from the 1990s to be able to charge really high prices for what is really good amplifiers. But again, and yeah, the amplifiers are probably not worth the prices they're charging, but they are really good amplifiers. No doubt about that. They make a lot more power than they're rated, and they're just well-designed, solid-ass amplifiers. But they're up taxing the price with the name, and people are not ready to do that. I mean, it's not been tremendously successful, I don't think. I may be wrong. Maybe they're selling them like hotcakes. I don't know. But they need to at least offer a line that people can afford to get their name out there. So you're saying something about SPL amps. I'll have to look into that. I haven't seen that, but I will check into it. T. Corley said, hoping over the winter, I have 2 315s. Yeah, we talked about that. I told you need to run 2. You'll be happier with 2. But yeah. And you can absolutely achieve that. I mean, just to give you an idea, my partner's running 2 18s, and I don't know if you could run 2 18s, but that might be an option too, but I don't think so. I don't think you'd have the cube. No, you wouldn't have the space in there for under window, but you could run 2 15s. Anyway, he's running 2 18s and a flat wall, similar to my Tahoe. His highest score he's seen was a 159 point something, but he noticed his voltage dropped quite a bit right there too. So he can't really actively run that high. Is the thing he can actually compete with is up in the 58s, but he has seen a 59 point some odd, pushing his electrical all the way to the limit one time off of 2 18s. And that's a lot stuff going on. SPL. Oh yeah. US Amps coming out with SPL subwoofer, and they got an SPL amplifier already. I'll have to check into them more. I haven't been keeping track of them the last few months because I saw the direction they were going. Maybe they finally got smart. I need to go over and do some digging. Oh, yeah. That sounds good, man. Homemade deep sweet and sour pork over rice. Mmm. Makes me want to get me a wok, man. I used to have a wok. I used to do really cool stuff with a wok. Get the pork chops and cut them up into little bitty thin strips, and get some chicken and cut them up into little strips, and onions and bell peppers and jalapenos and whatever else you want. Throw it in there, man, with some soy sauce in there. And I like using teriyaki marinade too. Whenever I did the wok, I use teriyaki marinade because it's got a nice sour flavor to it. Makes that shit, oh man, greasy and wonderful. Love it. Cholesterol city, but it was my favorite food. Um, Once Parker's done with the Walmart build, he'll be swapping out the gear. Yeah, he's going to do it in stages, though. He's going to swap it out in stages. He's going to put big amplifiers on first. That's going to be the best videos of the series. Quote me on that. Quote me on that. When he switches in big amplifiers on those Walmart subs, that phase is going to be the best videos on the series. Now, whenever he goes to the depth bonds, it's going to get loud as shit. Ain't no doubt about that. But what I'm waiting to see is big power on the Walmart subs. That's going to be fun. And I guarantee you, he's going to blow those subs on that amp. Hopefully, he doesn't blow the amp in the process, because that does happen. If you guys want to do something cool, here's a throw out. If you want to do something stupid like that, you want to blow subs on an amplifier, put a fuse on your speaker line going to your subwoofer. Put a fuse in between on the speaker wire itself. Fuse it. You got to figure out how much amperage you're going to pull through it to fuse it, but fuse it. That way, when the coil inevitably does short circuit, it'll trip the fuse instead of blowing up your amp. Pointer. You may have to play around with fuse sizes before you get something that can handle the power, but that's the thing. If you're going to do that crazy stuff, that's how you protect the amplifier. Cheat Corley said, I'm debating to go with Slapz amps. I bought my last amp, didn't really know anything about the Slapz amps. I saved a few more dollars. If I saved a few more dollars, I could have more power. Yeah. You can't go wrong with the Slapz amps, dude. I've had 100% survival rate on everything, and let me tell you, I do not give my shit an easy life. My stuff has a rough life. If I'm not blowing it up, then it's going to be real hard to blow up. So you should be just fine. You'll be very happy. Hoping for a 150 dB with 4 10s. And 55 cubic foot cabin, tiny car. Oh, you'll get that, man. No problem. Yeah. Hey, I'll be out there, man. Any of the Carmel shows, I will be there. I do not miss any of those. I pretty much make every single GP show in the Springfield area too. So anything that's happening in Springfield, it's one of those two. At Carmel or GP shows in Springfield, I'm going to be there. A few outside of town, but not far. I don't typically travel very much. Next season is going to be a little different. I'm probably going to be traveling a little more next season, but not a whole lot. Martin Bryant, what's up, man? Nice to see you. Oh yeah. Parker's a hoot, man. Parker is a hoot. Joe Berserker's talking about him. The loser said, I did a 152 with 215 recoiled SPLXs. I'm thinking he's meaning reconed, but I could be wrong. And I ported 10. There's a number there. 10 to 10. I'm not sure what that means. And as SUV. 10.3 would be squared. I'm not really sure what 10.2 is. Math is not my strong suit. 160, I'll be permanently smiling for a good amount of time. Yeah, that's 160 will absolutely, it's a lot of power, man. Martin Bryant, thank you, sir, for the sub. Appreciate you very much. Recon. Yeah, I figured that out. Man. I caught it. Uh, I got a Sony. What is this? Martin said, I've got a Sony MHC GX450 sub that carries about 200 volts. Shakes the whole house. I have questions. That's a big amplifier. I mean, that's a big amplifier. But I'm assuming more information will come on that. That sounds interesting. Michael Vita, welcome. Can't wait to see your new build. Hopefully, the V2s are going to crush some numbers. Absolutely, man. I am. I'm down with it. I'm looking forward to them. I mean, just changing out to the to 1 ohm per amp would have probably netted me quite a bit more SPL off the version 1s that I was running. But if I'm going to be switching them, I might as well be switching them to the version 2s, right? Because I mean, they're there and all that. So that's what we're doing. Slightly more throw, a little bit more air movement, higher motor force. All the things I'm looking for, they're all there. Big Bad 8K is 0.5 rated. The base 8K isn't. The Big Boss 8K is 0.5 rated. The base 8K isn't, right? Both of those will run at half an ohm. I just don't. I'm a big fan of staying above that. But, I get it. I mean, if I was running that amp on the setup that I had, I probably would have run them at half an ohm just because it says it's rated for half an ohm. But I don't like going below whatever the rating is. Slapz seems to have a lot of good bang for your buck options. 100%, dude. 100%, man. That's my whole opinion on that. I mean, and I've been trying to get Alan to do it, add a few more things to the lineup, which is like pulling teeth because he's like, I don't know, man. But I've offered a couple of ideas. And I think he's listening to me. So we're working on it. We're working on it. We're going to stare at it and look at it a little bit. I want to see some single fuse holders. I suggested a design. I think would be good. If you guys have seen any of the like high end fuse holders, like from SMD or whatever, from GP, the ones would have the bottom plate and then the little post and then the top plate. You guys can't see that distribution block behind me, but that kind of thing. I've been talking to him about doing something like that. Just a more classy approach to it, with the logo on it and trying to keep it down like in the $30 range. A piece I think would be a really good seller. I think we could do those in the builds and really, really push that and be good. People would enjoy it, being able to show off the name brand in an elegant solution in a real big build. It would be a small build could use them, right? And they'd look crazy, look awesome. But a big build, whenever you're doing rows of fuses, it would be really cool to have that kind of option to expand it into a large build. I think it's a good flexible piece. It wouldn't be too much on cost. So we're talking to him about it. We're looking into things. So if you guys have suggestions or ideas on things you'd like to see Slapz carry, comment, because I can transfer those ideas over to the man that owned the company. So might be something that could happen in the future. Yeah. Okay. Jacob said, two is squared and 3 is cubed. Yeah. And which doesn't, that's why I'm not used to seeing 2, because square doesn't hell. I'm always thinking in cubes because cubes, that's what I lost my, like I said, I don't math well. I'm functionally math. Which is pretty much a 2-dimensional measurement, right, versus 3. I understand that now. Um, El Fuego said, I'm closing on 62,000 subscribers. Dude, just working. We just do this. This is, I have subscribers because people enjoy the content. A whole lot of my subscribers come from a couple of videos. But I mean, it is what it is, and the audience is out there. You guys enjoy talking about this stuff, and I do my best to answer the questions that you have, to engage with my audience. I'm not one of the content creators that just puts it out and then just lives it. No, I actively engage and answer and respond to comments on every video. I spend the first couple hours of every single day responding to comments and reading comments every day, 7 days a week. That's part of my ritual. Um, so that's just me. You're messed up. Let's see here. Martin said the Sony sub I'm referring to has an 8-inch woofer. Okay. It's 150-watt power output. Okay. Not a 200. You said 200 volt. You said 200 volts. I was pretty sure that's what I read was 200 volts. But okay. That's what screwed me up. You said 200 volts. That's a real number, 200 volts. Because it is AC power going to that. If you're putting 200 volts into a sub, buddy, it would shake the house. Or smoke up the house. Probably more likely smoke up the house, but yeah. I get it. And he says, my bad, and a frequency response of 20 to 150 hertz. I like it. Sounds good. Sounds solid. Let's see here. Then the squared. Yep. 150. It's about 13 volts. Yeah. Joe Berserker. You think in squares with port area. Yep. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. I see what you're saying, Corn Nut. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Loser, I don't miss it raining in my car because the system shook everything apart. Yeah, I have to park my Tahoe parks under the carport because, well, I don't park it there because, but it's one of the reasons, I guess. The sunroof it doesn't seal exactly right, so if enough rain rains on my Tahoe, it will drip a little bit into the headliner area and work its way down into the cab. That seal is struggling, and I'm going to have to do some straight up go shit up there. I'm probably going to get up there and use some of that really sticky tape my buddy's got, and just tape the whole damn sunroof to the roof. Just go around the whole perimeter and just tape the shit out of it because it's sunroofs are a real pain in the ass when it comes to bass. And that was my mistake for buying a vehicle with a sunroof in it. I bought it because I liked the vehicle. I saw the sunroof and I was like, but I bought it anyway. Man, I could have bought a Bourbon the same day I bought the Tahoe. The Bourbon did not have a sunroof in it. My stupid ass did not catch that. I wanted a Tahoe. I wanted the slightly shorter version. Yeah, bad decisions, man. We have to live with them. Jacob, it's okay, boss. We're all here to help you out in the math when you need it. We aren't really here for the tiny. We are not really here for that anyway. Okay, spaces, man. You gotta breathe between the words, or the words don't sound right. Typos can be the funniest shit, dude. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I know when you're typoing. I do it too. I misspell shit. I typo shit all the time. Sometimes a typo can be hilarious. And I always try to find the humor in everything because I'm too old to be passing up anything to laugh at. Straight up. That needs to be on a t-shirt. Bumping is bumping. For real. What's up, Michael Smith? Was that? Oh, a clap. He's got the clap. Nice to see you. Oh, yeah, Joe's going to do the math for you. There you go. I knew it was a lot. 2,200 volts would be 40,000 watts. That's a lot to put through one subwoofer. Joe got the popcorn. Hell yeah, dude. That's a lot of power. I put a bead of Gorilla. Oh, that'd be an idea too. Very good. I put a bead of Gorilla Glue clear grip to seal up my sunroof. That might be the thing. I've got some. I don't have that though. I have got some PL200. You have to get up there and do it with an injector and inject some PL200 in there, something in there. Something's got to give, man. Something's got to give. No. Well, the answer to that question is yes, but not in this current build. And no, she doesn't. She's my wife is weird, man. And I mean, that's a very broad statement, but she is. She's weird. So she likes music, but she likes the music to be a background for her to sing along to. And most of the time she just listens to news and stuff like that. She actually listens to the radio. That's her. She don't listen to any CDs, any kind of playlist off her phone, none of that shit. She just listens to the freaking radio station, the same radio station all the time. She's got that old school radio mentality, which is fine. She wants to be able to hear them talk and understand, and she wants to be able to sing on top of it. She doesn't care about bass. She doesn't care about sound quality. Dude, she'd be totally happy with one working speaker somewhere in her car that she can actually hear and a freaking FM radio, and that would totally make her happy. She don't care about being able to Bluetooth to it and do any of that kind of stuff. That's just not how her mind works. She's got old lady mentality. She's always had that. So yes, I have done stuff, but mainly just to keep her shit going the way she wants it. She doesn't want the factory radio to be different. She doesn't. She just leaves it on one station. And here's the crazy thing. I can go in there and turn the bass up and get in there 2 weeks later. It'll be the same place I left it. I can go in there and turn the bass all the way down, get in there 2 weeks later. It'll still be exactly where I left it. She doesn't change anything. She doesn't care about it. And she doesn't want anything changed. It's just she's just an unusual person. And that's, me, I'm the opposite. My shit's just full tilt boogie. I don't care. I don't even want to hear myself think whenever I'm cranking. And she enjoys my system at some times, but not all the time. She tolerates it. Jacob's laughing. Rebel, so it's okay. A Tahoe Yukon looks better than the Bourbon Yukon. Actually, I agree. I like the size. I think the Bourbon is just a little bit too long for what it is. I mean, it's not my favorite shape, It's a little bit more school bussy. I wanted more of the short wheelbase look. So that's why I went that route. The Bourbon actually had less miles on it. I think they both showed up the same time. They were both the same color. They were really close matches to each other. It was like literally, which one do you want, the Bourbon or the Tahoe? That's because they were so close. But I had been wanting the Tahoe, and so I went straight to the Tahoe. Mista. Yep, I can't pronounce that name either. Mistal Al J. Okay, we'll go with that. Just call you Mista, because I know I'm screwing that up. What up, fam? I am Kentucky State Champ with Mika Trunk 2 class. Hell yeah, my friend. Awesome. I'm all about it, dude. I bet it sounds awesome. I like trunk classes. Trunks are fun. There's so many people that's not running trunks anymore. Hatchbacks and SUVs is pretty much the vast majority. And then there's some minivans and stuff too, but there's not very many trunk people. So it's good to see people still competing in trunks. And trunks give you the best sounding bass because it always does, because it kind of muffles out any of the noises because of, the different things in between you and the trunk. So the bass that gets in the car is always really warm and really soft and really impactful. Of course, they also rattle the most outside the car because, trunk. But yeah, I like trunk classes. I dig a trunk build. I'd love to do one. Short beds look better than long bed trucks. Yeah, same concept. I agree, man. I have no problem with running. I would love to do a minivan build. I think it'd be great. I'd love to drive a minivan every day. I have no problem with that at all. A minivan is the most logical vehicle on the planet for whatever it is you're doing. Even if you're a single idiot going to college, a minivan is the best vehicle you could buy. It's going to get great fuel economy. It's going to allow you to move all your crap from apartment to apartment easier. It's going to be able to fit all your friends. It's going to be able to open up and give you a place to sleep in it whenever you don't pay rent and you get kicked out of your apartment. It's got so many options. A minivan is a ridiculously practical vehicle for anybody on this planet. It's the most practical vehicle there is. And I would daily one, no problem. I would love to have a minivan. Absolutely love to have a minivan. It's the most logical vehicle there is. Women that tolerate our toys are the best, no doubt, dude. That ain't easy to find either. Mine gets that. You're gonna be seeing her on video. She's gonna be doing a bunch of painting and stuff. She's gonna be neck or waist deep in that box painting it. So that's coming up, you guys. If you ain't subscribed, be sure and hit that subscribe button. And you're gonna see my wife waist deep in a subwoofer box with a gallon of paint. It's gonna be great. So we're gonna do stuff. Gonna do all the stuff. Mista. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Mista. Because I'm really screwed up. Yeah. I get it. Mista. I picked that up. Let's see here. Jacob cannot stand long bed trucks. Hey, you guys, if you watch down in Mexico, they don't sell them in the United States, but if you really want a single cab, full size truck like a Chevy, a single cab Chevy, they still do make those. Brand new. You can still buy them, but you got to buy them in Mexico. A whole lot of Mexicans will buy them, and so they sell pretty good down there. So if you look around, you can find like brand spanking new or like really late model full size trucks with a single cab and a short bed, but you're going to have to get them from Mexico and import them from Mexico. I've seen quite a few of them, and they look really, really good. Just throwing that out there for anybody that's interested. T. Corley said, back in the early 2000s, I had a chance to buy an Astrovan, already walled with 615s, 3/4 ton suspension. Oh man, that's nasty. That would be just son. That's a money shot right there. Yeah, that's a hell of a bill. But like I said, I would daily a van, even without a system in it, just because it just makes damn sense. Yeah, they're very few and far between. Timmy, what's up, man? Timmy said, I ordered a Slapz Audio SmackDown 18, and I can't wait to see how it performs versus my PSI Platform 318. That'll be an interesting comparison. Short bed single cab 4x4 with a V8. Yeah. Jacob Combs. Red Pill said they're so expensive. They're so damn expensive down there. They could be called the Recoil Silverado. Yeah, I don't know, man. but I've had a couple people in the area that have bought them down there. Brought them in. I actually have on my channel. There's a video of one where we were doing a build for him, doing some install stuff at my buddy's shop. I go up there and piddle around. Sometimes I get involved a little bit. I can't crawl around and do the stuff I used to be able to do, but I can help back up my friend who owns the shop and kind of give people direction if they get lost on some of the more, exotic builds. I have pretty good input. He trusts my opinion on things, and so I'm able to get involved in that kind of stuff. The more deep back end stuff. But anyway, we have similar history. He has more history, but I have a history too. So we have a similar history in the audio world. And sometimes I'll get up there and help them out a little bit, give the young guys some guidance on whenever they're having to be creative and learn something that they haven't done before. But anyway, the point is he got in a Chevy pickup, a couple of them. The guy owned, and he's got some money, so it's not, the owner had a little bit of cheese, so I imagine he was able to pay whatever. But the truck was 100% stupid nice. I mean, it was done right, and it sounded great. And I mean, the engine, the exhaust, the stereo, it was just a nice freaking ride. So if you guys looking through my videos, you can find it in there. Watch that video and get a kick out of this single cab, modern, late model Chevy truck that was done up right, bought from Mexico. Where are we at? Holy crap, we're at almost 2 hours. I got to go outside and do a little more pedaling tonight. And then I'm going to eat me a couple more pork chops. I only had 2, and they're little bitty jokers, man. Man, they're so good. You guys got any more questions you want me to answer? Now will be the time to throw those up here. Or any comments. I'll give you guys a minute to think about it. You got any more questions on Slapz, on the Oblivions, the brand new Oblivions on the website? Ready for that discount code, CAE, to save 10%? If not, you know what? Let's get the duck out of here, baby. Like that,
big subwoofers are getting loud. You can feel the booming sound. Getting ready to go. Got it shined up for the show. Power's charging, amps are amping, gonna let the woofers blow. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one goes, and another one goes, and another one bites the dust.
Tuesday, guys.
We got more at home. Another one bites the dust.
There's going to be an unboxing show.
Eyes are glowing and the amps smoking. Subs are cherry red. Let me keep jamming. Gotta keep the bass slamming. Gonna go hard till they're dead. Full power, gotta let it go. 20 hertz in the floating hair. Sparks are flying, voice cords are frying, and the smoke is in the air. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one goes, and another one goes, and another one bites the dust. Hey, we got more at home. Another one bites the dust.
Man, I just realized Andy never popped in tonight. I'm surprised. Boom. I'm wondering when he's going to start doing Friday shows again. You guys got to let me know so I can switch up this day.
Yeah.
Peace out, my friend.